What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we have the keys to the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder, so let's go ahead and take a look at this off-road rugged family SUV. And the model that we're looking at today is the Rock Creek 4-wheel drive, finished off in Scarlet Ember tint coat, and has an MSRP at $45,200. Underneath the hood of the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek, you're going to find a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine. This V6 pumps out 295 horsepower with 270 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission, and it has a 4-wheel drive transfer case. Curb weight is around 4,600 pounds, and it can tow 6,000 pounds, and running on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank, you're looking at 20 miles per gallon in the city with 23 out on the highway. Overall length is 197.7 inches with wheelbase at 114.2. Height is 70.9 and width is 77.9 inches. Ground clearance is also 7.7 inches with approach angle at 18.8 degrees, and then departure angle is 22.8 degrees. And then now moving on to the exterior styling, the Rock Creek Edition is a very off-road focused, rugged looking trim level for the iconic Nissan Pathfinder. You're going to see a lot of gloss black all around it. But we get a very nice set of LED headlights with the DRL up top, all blacked out within the housing, and a pretty unique look. You can see more of that body color up front, and the entire front bumper is finished off in a black plastic. We do get LED fog lights down below with some silver trim all throughout, a pretty good opening to allow cooling to the radiators, and there's also functional air vents to open and close depending on the efficiency needs. You can see all this gloss black within the front grille, even with a forward-facing camera, of course the new Nissan logo, and then some silver trim up top. It really comes together nicely. It looks significantly different from the standard trim levels. You also get some really sharp body lines in the hood that fade their way towards the windshield. And I really like how everything comes together. It has a very cool and sporty look. And then as we make our way to the side profile, that plastic from the front bumper makes its way around the front and rear wheel arch, and is even connected through a plastic trim piece in the lower portion of the doors. This also gets a set of 18-inch off-road wheels finished off in gloss black, and they have a machined silver lip around them, kind of looking like a beadlock. We even get an off-road set of Toyo tires, and then of course an off-road tuned suspension. So this definitely has a pretty good rugged look for the side profile. We get Rock Creek on the back side of the door with a cool orange mountain logo, then a pretty smooth bodyline all around the front. You can see a sharp line going from the headlight, and it fades its way under the mirror, and then another one picks up through the door handles all the way into the rear. We get a body color set of side door handles, and then gloss black mirror caps. There's a side view camera as well as an integrated turn signal. You can also see the gloss black roof, which is part of the two-tone paint option. It goes from the A pillar to the B pillar, then all blacked out up top. I really love the addition to this really cool looking roof setup. It's a very nice roof rack. And then in back you can see the C pillar with the red as well as the black to really give it a pretty unique design, and it kind of has that floating roof. Moving our way to the side profile, very good proportions front and rear, and with that roof rack as well as these wheels and fenders, you can just see how rugged this car looks. Moving towards the back, you can see how the roof wraps around with more of the gloss black. You got the integrated third brake light up on top, and then all gloss black surrounding the rear piece of glass. From this angle, you can also see the sharp body line over the rear wheels to give it that wider appearance. And then we also have a set of LED taillights that wrap around and are very flush with the bodywork. We get the Nissan badge right in the center with Pathfinder all blacked out, as well as a Rock Creek logo behind that. And then you can see 4-wheel drive on the right, your grab handle in the center, and then more of this plastic black for the entire rear bumper. There are rear parking sensors as well and some reflectors, and then we have our connections for the trailer hitch as well as the hitch receiver right in the center. The rear end design comes together nicely, and I love how you can see those roof racks from back here, and it really comes together to be a pretty rugged looking SUV. So there's a good look at the exterior with the 2023 Pathfinder Rock Creek Edition. It is a really cool rugged looking SUV. Now Nissan has a brand new key fob finally, after several decades it seems. We have the new key fob for the 2023 model year. Pretty simple, of course we have all of our buttons and remote start. Keeping the key fob though in my pocket. Whether the car is locked or unlocked, all you have to do is grab the door handle. You just heard it automatically unlock, and now we can check out this rugged interior. The Rock Creek Edition gets a very cool two-tone interior with the black synthetic leather as well as a black fabric. If we take a look at the door panel now, finished off in black, you can see the smooth black leather material up top with orange contrast stitching. We also have our grab handle up top, all the mirror controls, window controls, and lock and unlock. Then you can see our grab handle as well as a pretty nice soft armrest. Then we have a lot of storage space down below with one of the speakers, plastic along the door sill, and then all of your power controls for the driver's seat. You can see the smooth leather material has a really nice leather texture along with that same orange stitching, and then black fabric in the center with a very cool stripe pattern. Moving our way up the backrest, you can see more of the stitching as well as all the two-tone, and I love how Rock Creek is even stitched into the backrest. We get contrast stitching along the headrest, and then a black leather steering wheel with the new Nissan logo and black trim. And then now inside the new Pathfinder, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. You can see a pretty cool animation in the center with the Pathfinder silhouette. And then we have an analog tack on the left with engine temperature, then your speedometer and fuel over on the right side. There is an LCD screen in the center with all sorts of different information. You can control that using the buttons on the left side of the screen. So if I go ahead and scroll through right now, you can scroll up and down in this menu and see a blank screen and your digital speed. And then scrolling left and right, we have settings that you can go into and monitor all sorts of different things within the car. Then you can continue over. You have some safety information as well, different audio settings, car information like your 4x4 system, fuel and trip. And then on the right side of the steering wheel, we have all your cruise control buttons on the right side. This one right here, you tap and that turns on all of the safety settings. You can adjust that. You have your distance as well, a few connectivity buttons as well. And then on the left side, we have a few more audio and Bluetooth controls. We do get steering wheel mounted paddle shifters that have a pretty cool look and feel to them. They're a couple inches large, which is a nice touch. On the right stalk, you can see all of your windshield wiper controls, and then turn signal and headlights all on the left with automatic high beams. To the left of the steering wheel, we have the button right here to turn on the steering intervention, then the interior dimming. And then we have one of your air vents, more of this leather material as well as stitching, and then a black material running across the entire dashboard. On the right side, you can see more of that leather material and stitching, a really cool storage area. Of course, your glove box is located down below that. And then moving our way to the center infotainment screen. We have some basic information on here right now, like all of your audio controls, radio settings, and things like that. Just tapping the home button right now, it gets you to a pretty familiar setup. You can scroll right and left and see a few things that pop up on the screen. Phone connectivity, power and volume on the left with tuning over on the right side. Then if I go ahead and put the car into reverse, you're going to see the backup camera on the left with your full top-down view over on the right. Your parking sensor even comes up on the center screen. And then by going ahead and just tapping the P button, we're back into park. Underneath that, you can see two more air vents along with your hazards, and then fan controls, and of course the start button. And then you have all your climate controls down below that. They even get their own nice LCD screen, dual zone temperature you can easily adjust. Fan speed is right in the center. You also have your heated seat controls on the far left and right. We have automatic, you can sync them as well. Then of course your defrost buttons, different modes. And then underneath all that, we have a lot of storage space with two USB ports as well as a 12 volt. And then two cup holders on the right side with a little bit extra storage, the cool shifter design. And then behind that, we have your automatic hold, start stop feature, and an electronic parking brake. Then your drive mode select. I like how you have all these different drive modes. It comes up on the screen as well. You can go down into a tow mode, you have the sport and eco, and then we have some off-road ones. Of course, a snow one. When you do go into the off-road ones, you can see our front view camera pops up, which is really cool to see off-roading. Then we can go all the way up into the sand mode. So very neat the way everything is set up for that. You get more of this vinyl material and stitching, even a huge storage cubby down below that. And then we get Rock Creek on the center armrest as well as Pathfinder, and quite a lot of storage space in the center console. And then one last look at the interior. Nissan's new Pathfinder is a really nice setup. I think they designed it very well, and the Rock Creek definitely gives it that rugged look for the interior. And then up top, we get a sunglass holder and dome lights, and then your mirror. And then moving to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel is finished off all in black with a little bit of storage on the left side here, which is nice to see. Then you can see the captain's chairs back here finished in that same leather material with stitching, the really cool fabric in the centers that goes all the way up the backrests. You can see how these chairs do have an armrest that will fold up and down. There's a ton of storage in this area, as you can see. However, you can even pull this panel off the front and remove this whole thing to gain access to that third row. You do get quite a few amenities, like all your temperature controls, different zones for climate, USB ports. There's also storage on the back side of the front seats. And then with these seats, you can just press this button right here. The whole thing is gonna get out of the way, and you can just push it forwards a little bit, and that's gonna give you really good access into that third row when the seats are up. You just pull it back and get it out of the way. And from here, if I just grab the recline lever, we can push this all the way down and fold them nice and flat. So then now sitting in the back seat of the Pathfinder Rock Creek, these seats are pretty comfortable. I like how you have that armrest and they recline quite a bit. This honestly is a pretty good family SUV. We do get your air vents up on the ceiling with dome lights as well as the grab handles, and then a ton of glass in here to make it feel nice and roomy. So then now hopping into the third row, this can seat 3 people back here. You can recline the seats by grabbing this lever. I put them all the way back now. This is actually not a bad place. Pretty good headroom. You even get air vents up on top as well as dome lights, and then some cup holders on this far side. Pretty roomy back here with all the glass and everything. If I pull back the seat that I was sitting in, it's not that bad. I do have knee room as long as this seat's a little out of my way. So you can honestly fit 6 people in here perfectly comfortable. The 7th right in the center might be a little tight, but for the size of this vehicle, it's a pretty good third row. So then onto the cargo area now, I can just grab the handle down here, press the button, and then manually lift up the entire liftgate. So as you can see, with the third row up, you can see the angle of recline I had on that one side. You still do get quite a lot of storage space in back, and then you can even lift the floor up, and we have hidden storage space all underneath. And then from here, all you have to do is grab these straps. We can fold down the headrest, and then grab the lever to fold down the entire seats. And then as you can see, with everything folded down, it's very easy. One-handed, I could do all that. But now we have a ton of cargo area all in the back. This is an extremely useful and practical SUV. You can see how these are tucked away on the sides. But from here, to get them back up, you just grab the strap and manually lift them back into place, which is super convenient. And then if I go through the side doors, once again, you can see how they fold nice and flat. Everything is manually controlled, but honestly, it makes it super, super easy. All right, guys, so we are gonna start our test drive off-road. We are in the off-road mode, hitting a lot of mud, quite honestly. So, just getting through some stumps and things, looking at the cameras. So really nice to see all that sort of technology. I will say off-road, just hitting this trail, this drives so incredibly smooth. Like, it literally doesn't feel like I'm on anything. So it's definitely tuned very well to be able to drive over trails like this. Obviously this isn't a crazy like rock crawler, but just doing stuff like this, no issues whatsoever. Really comfortable, steering's nice and easy, and especially when you get to that slow speed, having these cameras and everything, parking sensors, it's really easy to get a good view of everything as I clear the stump and just slowly walk up this hill. So off-road capabilities definitely pretty good for generic off-roading. So I think they did a good job, and this thing's gonna be so filthy when I'm done with it. But yeah, definitely nice and solid, and I think that's one thing that I've been very impressed with Nissan in their newest generation is how solid their SUVs feel. Pathfinder especially just feels so built well. I mean, there's nothing like, it doesn't feel cheap on this at all. And there's quite a few bumps I'm hitting, and it just does everything so smooth. I really, really like just how smooth this SUV feels. From there, let's go just to the auto mode, normal. I'm sure we're gonna hear quite a lot of mud kicking up. Oh yeah, you definitely, yeah, probably got a little muddy on this. So getting up to speed, popping it on some cruise control now. The tires make a little bit of noise. They're definitely a more aggressive setup than I would have thought this would come with. However, that means that when I was in those deep mud puddles, it made it to where obviously we had traction. So you can hear them a little bit going 55, not crazy annoying or anything, but you know they're there. As far as wind noise though, I mean, pretty quiet. I was expecting the roof rack to make noise, but I don't hear anything up there on the roof of the car at all. And honestly, you get used to the tires, so I really wouldn't say that's a crazy negative. It's just something you're gonna notice. Now, on-road capability with the off-road suspension, there's a little bit of body roll and a body sway. This is about an inch taller than the standard one. Now, I've had a Platinum for a week and tested that out. That is definitely a very good on-road vehicle. So you can tell there are off-road capabilities on this that make it to where there's a little bit of hindrance on the street. Again, not a crazy amount. This still drives way nicer than a Toyota 4Runner, if that at least can put it into perspective. But on-road is nice. Steering feel is really good. Great visibility all around. And I love how in that third row, how you can put those seats down and fold the headrest out of the way. Because right now they're kind of in the way. But of course, if I were to fold them down, even better visibility. So definitely good for just normal driving. Seats are really comfortable. Nissan just does something with their seats. I'm not sure if these are the zero gravity seats, but they're just so comfortable. There's a lot of padding. I'm about to take this on a 1,600 mile trip, so I am obviously gonna put some good butt time in these seats, but even just normal driving, it is really comfortable and just a great place to be. And then if we play with more of the drive modes, let's go back into the sport mode. It's cool that it does give you the sport mode and the manual control with the shift paddles. So third gear, it also has about 10 more horsepower than the standard one. So it gets a little floaty in the higher RPM when you start accelerating higher. So you can tell, again, that off-road focus aspect with the suspension and the tires, you know, that's the one downfall with it on the street. But the 9-speed delivers power well, it's very smooth, and it's a peppy enough vehicle. I mean, you can get up onto the highway without thinking. Transmission is responsive, you actually want to shift with the paddles. So if you're off-roading, I like how, because you have a nice transmission, you can actually drive this, maintain a gear if you're hitting a certain trail or a certain hill. If you are in the tow mode and things like that, again, you can take that manual control and really hold that gear. So Nissan gave you a good transmission, a pretty good power plant overall, and good drivetrain setup to where you can take control of the vehicle to really do what you want with it. So the fact that this is a nice family SUV, but it has the towing and the off-road capability, I think that's a really cool touch. So I think it's a cool way to go for sure. We're not gonna go down that trail all the way, but we're gonna go back in the dirt, mine as well. I think I got this a lot dirtier than I was expecting, but I really am impressed with just how smooth everything is in this. So back into mud and rut. That's kind of the normal off-road. Visibility is pretty good when you're off-roading too. You can easily point the car. And if I adjust the seat a little bit, I mean, you can tell exactly where the front is, and those rear areas on the car, the widest part, you can see in your mirrors really well. So you know how to place this. And I think, man, again, I sound like a broken record, but the suspension is so good. It feels like such a solid SUV where hitting all these bumps just isn't anything. Only downfall with the vehicle that I've noticed, when you put it into reverse, it takes a minute to finally engage. So that's a little annoying if you're gonna do a quick maneuver from drive into reverse. So reverse just takes a little bit to engage. I wish that was quicker. So same with drive. Sometimes it just takes a second. You know, I'd rather be a little more responsive, but that's probably my only complaint. Now, when you are off-roading, I just floored it and it didn't lose traction at all. I was trying to drift it or spin it out or something. But as far as safety goes, obviously you technically don't want your car to do that. This feels like it's just so well designed with the off-road, the four-wheel drive system and everything, to where it's not going to be losing traction. And losing traction is obviously where, you know, you can crash or get stuck. This is a vehicle that I don't think you're really going to be getting stuck doing basic trails and things like that, driving it in the snow. So it seems really capable so far for what it is. Again, it's not the most hardcore off-road, or it's not a fully loaded Range Rover, which is $100,000. So for the price point and for the capability that owners are actually going to be doing with this, I think this is a really good blend. So I think that is then it for the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder, this Rock Creek edition. Really cool spec for sure. But if you enjoyed today's full look at the 2023 Rock Creek edition, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.